Frisco Mayor Jeff Cheney, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Frisco, like many other cities right now, are considering their budgets for next year. And so I'm wondering, how are you and council members and the city manager trying to balance population growth and increase in services, and at the same time, give homeowners and property owners a break on their taxes?
Absolutely. It's a busy time of year, and thanks for having me to discuss it. In Frisco, of course, growth hasn't slowed down. So we're adding, roughly 1,000 new residents to our community still every single month. And so with that comes more roads, more infrastructure, more fire stations, all of the above. So it's a delicate act balancing all that. Our finance department, we feel, is the best in the business. And so they do a great job of balancing that. And so they presented a preliminary budget to us this week, and provides for the same level of quality services that our residents have come to expect. But we're also hearing from our residents of concerns of rapidly rising property values. And so we really sharpened our pencils this year and really wanted to bring some homeowner relief. And so we've increased our homestead exemption. That was a mission of mine when I was first elected. We first put that in place in 2017, and I've now taken our third increase in that to get to 12.5% to give some relief to our residents. And we also implemented our first senior tax freeze, to really help our residents that are on fixed incomes.
And so regarding the property value, if I read correctly, Collin County Appraisal District projects that the average market value for a home in Frisco is over $633,000. Did I read that correctly? And what's driving that? Is it jobs? Is it schools? And how concerned are you that that high price, that high value, will have an impact on future growth?
That number is probably recent new construction. I'd say our median value came back, probably closer to 475,000, but still rapidly increasing. Frisco is, has been known as the #1 place to live in America. And so with that has brought a lot of people and a lot of demand to be here. And that certainly drives pricing. It is a concern, certainly, of the leadership here is, we want Frisco to be a full life cycle community. We want, people to move here, start their first jobs, grow their families here, and be able to afford that first home to live here in Frisco. And so part of that has become how we design our new neighborhoods. So neighborhoods that are coming out of the grounds now, like fields that were under development, really brought that into mind as far as kind of what these new generation of home buyers are looking for, how we can increase affordability for them, but still keep the same quality here in Frisco.
You brought up jobs, and the city needs to keep its workers as well, just like everybody else. You're competing in that marketplace. So what is the city doing to try to retain its employees while at the same time attract new ones?
Certainly. And so, from a citywide perspective, our economic development team is the busiest they've ever been, with the goal of bringing Fortune 500 companies like Keurig Dr. Pepper and TIAA and more to come. And so jobs are coming here. That's leading to a lot of that growth. But certainly the city on our levels, we see, many of the same challenges that other companies do, which is competing for talent, here in a very challenging job market. And so we've really been focused on that as far as how we can add benefits to our residents. So we did a lot of benefits work this year. We invested in our own health clinic to be able to serve our employees, to provide that value, and really continue to give them opportunities so that we're still able to hire the best of the best and also retain them.
As you know, it's back to school this week. Frisco ISD, many other school districts, classes are back in session. What is the city doing to make sure that school campuses are safe?
This is something that the city and the school district have always been proactive about, making sure we have investment in SRO officers. We kind of led the country in our efforts to develop the SAFER program well over a decade ago. And that program basically put cameras in all of our schools where we can monitor. We've mapped every single school. The school district does a great job as far as their security. I kind of joke because, I often go read to second grade classes, here in Frisco, because that's when they start learning about local government. And even the mayor has to have his ID checked, scanned before he enter. And they always apologize, but I certainly tell them, no, I'm thankful that you do that because we want to make sure that every one of our campuses is safe.
And just on the tune of public safety, just in the rest of the community, how is crime? Have you seen any large increases in crime with the rise in population?
We were proudly named the safest community in America. Chief Shulshin and his team do an amazing job. Part of that, truthfully, is that our community supports our law enforcement. And so we've started to see Frisco become a destination department where we're getting some of the best officers from across the country want to come work for a community that supports them. So that has been a really great help. Certainly Frisco is not immune to crime. We have to remind people to keep their doors locked and their cars locked and, take, their possessions with them. I think the crimes we see are more kind of crimes of those opportunities. And when people start feeling, a little too safe where they don't necessarily lock their doors, but, it's something that we always focus on. Almost half of our budget goes towards public safety. It's very important that we give our public safety officers the training and tools that they need to continue to keep Frisco safe. And I'll never forget, when we invested millions in a mobile command center and what we do for our general command center operations. Some of our residents actually asked, why are we investing so much money when Frisco is already safe? And of course,